and welcome to my channel, Geek Petite. Today I'm bringing you a pattern review of the Sirocco jumpsuit. This is the pattern, it's by Deer and Doe, and I've made two versions. The one I'm wearing is in just a black cotton jersey from Sarah I Like So Amazing, and I made this version a couple of years ago, and it's in this light reflecting cotton jersey from First for Fabrics. Now I don't think it's going to work picking up the different colours because you kind of need to actually be outside, but basically what happens is these little bits that are just black and white against the deep blue there, when you actually go outdoors, they sort of, the little white bits change to kind of pinky and light blue tones, which is really pretty. It's a shame I can't show you that, but yeah, it's a lovely fabric. So yeah, so I'm going to talk through the pattern in some detail, talk a bit about sizing, the fabric, the type of fabric. Sorry that cut off a bit, I just had a little interruption of an announcement from Alexa asking if the children want beans on toast for lunch. But there we go. So yes, so I'm going to talk about the pattern sizing, the type of fabric that you need, a bit about sort of the instructions and the construction, and also any alterations that I made. Okay, so this is a French pattern company, and the pattern comes in 7 different sizes, ranging from a size 34 to a size 46. So I'm just going to talk you through how I came to decide on the size that I made. So just to give you the lowest and highest measurements, the size 34, which is the smallest, is a 31.5 inch bust, a 23.5 inch waist, and a 33 3/4 inch hip. And the largest size is a 41 bust, 33 waist, and 43.25 on the hip. Now, when I made this version, my measurements were 39, 33, 39. And when I looked at the measurements on the pattern, I was falling between, I was around a size 44 on the bust, 46 on the waist, and 42 on the hip. So I was right in between those 3 sizes. So interrupted by yet another Alexa announcement, so I've actually unplugged it. Okay, so I was saying that I was falling between the 3 sizes, so I decided to just go for the middle, which was so an extra ½ inch on the pattern size compared to my bust, a couple of inches, 1.5 inches less on the waist, and actually 1 3/4 larger on the hip. I decided to just go for it. The thing is that you'll know if you've watched my other videos, I talk about checking the finished garment sizes all the time. That's a little bit tricky with this one because you've got the negative ease in the waist. So my waist at the time was 33 inches, and this finished garment measurement on the waist is 28.5 inches. The other areas have some additional ease. So you know, that was a little bit of a risk, I suppose, but because of the stretchiness of the fabric, I just decided to go for it, and it turned out absolutely fine. So yes, I think that's all of the, well, just to say, so yes, I have actually increased, my measurements have increased a bit since I made this version. So I've increased by 1 inch on the bust and 2 or 3 inches on my waist actually, and then 1 inch on the hip. But because this one, although you know I've probably stretched it a bit from wearing it so much, because this one still fitted me, I just decided it made sense to just make another one in exactly the same size. So this one is a size 44 as well. So what I want to talk about now is the fabric that's suitable for this pattern, and that is really, really important because there are no buttons or zips in it. You've got to be able to just pull. You go in via the legs, and then you've got to be able to sort of pull these bits up and over your shoulders and pop your arms through. So, and obviously for going to the loo, you are doing that quite often, so it needs to be very, very stretchy. So I think initially they said it needed a 40% stretch, but I believe it's now, it changed to 60% stretch. So it's just really important when you're looking for a fabric. I've used a cotton jersey for both of these versions. Now, I did have a bit of a panic with this one because what happened was I laid the fabric out, and when I started putting the pattern pieces on, I thought, that doesn't quite look right. But anyway, I just pressed on, cut all the pieces out, and then realised that what I'd actually done was I'd folded the fabric the wrong way. So basically I had this kind of stretch lines, instead of kind of going vertically, we're going horizontally. So yes, I did have a slight panic, but I then had a little feel of the fabric, and I realised, thank goodness, it was actually a four-way stretch. So it was stretching pretty much the same in both directions. So we were saved there, but if it hadn't been, obviously it might have meant that I just couldn't make it because it wouldn't have that give and that stretch that it needs. So yeah, make sure you check that the fabric is suitable, guys. Okay, so in terms of the instructions, just brought the booklet up here to show you. The instructions are pretty good. You've got lots of diagrams sort of showing you how to lay things out, and there's actually a little section at the beginning that talks about you know, some things to do before you begin, and also some a little bit about sewing with knits. So, and of course you get the layout plans, and you've got, because you've got two versions actually. You've got the long leg, full leg version, and then you've got the shorts version over here as well, like a little play suit. So yes, pretty straightforward. The only thing I had a little bit of an issue with was the pockets. Now, what you have is you have a pocket facing, and then the pocket itself, and they're quite different. They're not the same size or shape. So it's this sort of area here. You've got kind of the facing inside, and then the pocket piece itself. So yes, it's I did find that a little bit tricky, but if you just take your time and make sure that you've laid it out properly, you should be absolutely fine. I think the rest of it was absolutely fine. And what I did was, this time round, I actually had a look at a sew along by Andrea from Beyond the Pink Door, which was really, really useful, just to sort of see how she did it. And she did actually construct it in certain places differently from the actual instructions, which I found really interesting, and I did actually try some of those bits out. So that was really, really useful. And actually it'll be part of the playlist that I'm putting together, that will be in the description box, because I'm going to do a playlist of different videos about the Sirocco, and the sew along will be part of that. So yeah, the instructions were fine. In terms of sort of the construction, I did quite a bit of it, this one on the sewing machine actually, whereas when I've looked back at this version I did a lot of that on the overlocker. I did overlock after stitching the waistband bits. I did overlock those just to give it a little bit of extra strength, and I also did some kind of additional you know, reinforcing in this area where you open and close it, you know, where you kind of have to stretch into it. So I did that there as well. Yeah, so you can use a mixture of your overlocker and your sewing machine to make it, just depending on preference. Now, I'm just going to open this so you can see. Excuse my cleavage, but yeah, so I did find that it's very open here, very low here. So what I've done is just used a little popper that I just hand stitched in, and that completely solves that issue, which is great. There's actually one that I popped on here as well. I wore this quite a bit before I needed to do it, but it just shows you it. Just shows you it there and there, and it's just, yeah, that's just really helpful, so that you don't kind of reveal your boobs. Okay, so just moving on to alterations. So the only alteration I made to the pattern for this first version was I took 5.5 inches off the leg length. I mean, this must be, I'm 5'1", it must be drafted for, you know, someone who's around 5'6". So yes, I realised that I needed to do that. So obviously I did that again with this one. The other thing I did this time was I just kind of sliced a little bit off at the kind of coming down to the hip. Really small amount, no more than kind of 0.5 centimetre, but I kept the waist, I took it right from the waist line, and then I just kind of yeah, sliced a bit out across the hip area, because I just felt like you know, my hips weren't that wide there. So yes, that worked out nicely. And the other thing I did, which I was a little bit nervous about, was actually a crotch adjustment. So I'll be popping photos in so you can see this better, because obviously you can only see kind of up to here. But yes, with this version, and again it'll be difficult to see, but I will try and find a picture. Won't be the most flattering of pictures, but just to show how low this crotch is. And I kind of convinced myself at one point that it didn't really matter, but it did kind of, yeah, I kept thinking, this is really low, it'd be great to change it if I made another one. So before I made this one, I looked into that, and I found a great tutorial from Professor Pincushion on YouTube, and I basically just followed what she said and adjusted my my leg pattern pieces. And I'm just so pleased with how that's worked out, because it's just lifted it right up to exactly where it needs to be. And what I did was I actually took, I think the difference was 1.5 inches in my actual measurement compared to the pattern. So I took 1/2 inch from the front piece, and so yes, decreased the crotch 1/2 inch at the front and 1 inch at the back. And yeah, that's so happy that worked out, because you know, it's a bit of a risk doing that, isn't it, when you haven't done it before. So yeah, super pleased. And yeah, they're all the adjustments I made. I did change the hem slightly. The instructions tell you to use a 1 1/8 inch hem on the sleeve and the legs, but I just did a 2 centimetre one, which I think has been, you know, is in keeping with other kind of jersey makes. So my overall feeling about this pattern is I just absolutely love it. It is so simple to make. It's got the lovely sort of details that give you a little bit of fitting, the little pleats here, and the darts on the back legs. Yes, it's great to, you know, wear around the house, but it's also smart enough to, you know, to go out. Let's hope we can do that soon. And yes, just overall an absolutely great pattern. I think it just works really nicely for my shape and my size as well, and my height, even though I've had to chop quite a bit off the legs. So yes, in fact, I'm already looking at another fabric to get to make another one, because I think it's just one of those staples for my wardrobe that I'll just wear over and over again. I've certainly worn that first version so much. So yes, just can't think of a bad thing to say about it really. It's just a great jumpsuit. Oh, and I will put together that playlist. So basically it's just some other videos that I found on the Sirocco that I've really enjoyed watching. There are quite a few out there, so I haven't put all of them in, but the sew-alongs there, and then there's at least a couple of other videos of people talking about the pattern and showing you their versions. I just think that's really interesting if you're interested in this pattern, because it's you know, everyone's got something different to say, and there are different shape and size and things. So I really hope you enjoy that if you have a watch. So that's everything for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like by clicking on the thumbs up, and I'll be back with another video really soon. Bye!